Hey there, I'm Walmart Chef Anthony Serrano, and I'm here to share some quick, fresh, and affordable meals for you to impress mom with this Mother's Day. And what better way to make it a truly memorable day than to make her an amazing meal? Well, guess what? You can, and I'm going to show you how easy and fun it is to cook. Now, you might be wondering, who is this guy and why does he want to help me? Well, I'm Chef Anthony Serrano. I'm a second-generation chef. I've appeared on the Food Network and the Cooking Channel. I've even won first place at the World Food Championships. Most importantly, though, I'm part of the Walmart Chef team. We're a group of award-winning chefs that love sharing our passion for cooking. So, what do you say? Want to join me as we cook an awesome dinner for that special mom in your life? All right, we're going to cook this together, so if you have any questions at all, just leave them in the comments, and I'll be checking them as I'm cooking, and I'll try to answer all of them as I'm going. So, we're going to start off with, our menu is going to be an everything bagel quiche, sauteed veggies, a salmon with a mustard everything glaze, and for dessert, a berry bruschetta. Sounds tasty, right? All right, well, let's start cooking. We're going to start off with our everything quiche. So it's pretty simple. I'm going to show you all the ingredients. We have a cast iron pan that I buttered. We have mozzarella, some everything seasoning, sea salt, cream cheese, heavy cream, eggs, our everything bagels, onions, and some fully cooked sausage. Now this is really simple. It's got a lot of great flavors. You can always change it up a little bit. I use the everything bagels, but if you want to use plain, if you want to use the onion bagels, that's great. Lox at the end if you want to add bacon instead of the sausage, it's totally fine. So we have our pan, it's nice and buttered. We have our eggs already cracked. We just want to give them a nice little light beat, just like that. Mix them up a little bit, start breaking them up. You could always put all the wet ingredients into a blender, get it nice and frothy, start building up some of that emulsification. That's going to help that quiche really rise. So we're going to keep mixing it just like that. We want the eggs to keep getting frothy. Keep mixing them like that. And then we're going to pour it into our bigger bowl. Now, you could always pour it into your cast iron and just do it all there if you want to do less dishes. That's perfectly fine too. We want those eggs to be nice and scrambled. Then I'm going to slowly add in our heavy cream. Now I'm going to keep mixing that up. Get all that stuff nice and yummy. And mix like that. Then I'm going to pour in our sea salt. That way it's all nice and mixed into our egg mixture. And then this is the everything seasoning. It's a good nice little mix of some garlic, some sesame seeds. Mix it just like that. It's going to get nice and incorporated into our egg mixture. We're going to keep mixing it. Want to make sure that it gets nice and frothy. Like I said, you can use an immersion blender, a stick blender, a regular blender. You want to get those eggs nice and frothy, so when it cooks, it's actually going to get bigger and it's going to be really going to have a great texture to it. So we're going to have that nice and mixed just like that. Then what I like doing is I get my everything bagel. Love these Sam's Choice everything bagels. They got a really good flavor to them. And what you do is you get one or two depending on how bagely you want this to be. And if you have kids, they'll love doing this. You just tear your bagels into pieces, just like that. You can chop them up if you want, but I like just pulling them apart like that. Just have a little fun with it. My kids love this part. This part is fun for them. And just tear it like that. Like I said, you don't have to use the everything bagel if you want to use the regular bagel, an onion bagel. And then we're going to pour in our mixture, just like that, over our bagels. And what's going to happen is once this starts cooking, it's all going to get nice and bigger, and it's going to get a nice golden color. I have about 2 cups of mozzarella cheese. If you don't want to use mozzarella cheese, you can always use cheddar cheese, the Great Value Fiesta blend cheese. Love that as well. Then I'm going to get our cream cheese. We're going to get the cream cheese. Now, the cream cheese you can mix in beforehand if you'd like, while you're mixing the creamy stuff. I like sort of tossing in that cream cheese in there a little bit. I've diced it in the aluminum foil. so that it's already broken apart, because cream cheese can be a little bit messy. So this way, instead of dirtying a cutting board, I just did it on top of the aluminum foil. We're going to mix that cream cheese in there. Like I said, if you want, you can do that when you do the eggs. Do it just like that. And then I have a little bit of our diced onion. Just sprinkle that. Like using this, it's all pre-cut and ready for us to use. And the sausage, you just sort of just throw that in there. And this is the Great Value fully cooked sausage. I really like using that because it's fully cooked. It's got a lot of great flavor to it. You can always use bacon, turkey sausage, turkey bacon. If you're using the raw type though, I'd make sure that you cook it beforehand because you're not going to be cooking it that long. Why don't we stop for a second, see if we got any questions? All right, well, we had a couple great questions. One is, how long does this take? Well, to put it together, pretty simple. As you saw, it only takes about 5-10 minutes. We have everything in here, and now we're going to put it into our grill. So it does take about 45 minutes to fully cook. So with the magic of TV, I have one already done for you. And as you can see, it looks really, really great. It's got all that beautiful caramelization color. It has the everything bagel seasoning in there. You can see the sausage. It's got a nice little brown top. That's called the caramelization. That's bringing out all those natural sugars and all those natural flavors. So this one's already all done. Again, it took about 45 minutes to completely make. So now that we have that one done, it's time to make our salmon. Now, I got this beautiful piece of salmon here at Walmart. It looks amazing. I went with the whole fillet, but you can always, if you're cooking for less people, you can get the frozen Great Value salmon that comes in the fillets. Those are really, really excellent. I love making those. And we have all our ingredients here. This is really, really easy, minimal ingredients, but all the ingredients we're adding on here are actually going to add a lot of great flavors to it. So we have lemons, butter, some more of the everything seasoning, sea salt, orange peel, and the Southwest hot mustard. So what I try doing whenever I'm cooking, especially for the family, to cut costs and just make things more efficient, is I try reusing the ingredients in multiple dishes. That way I'm buying a little bit less stuff, I have a little bit less inventory at my house, and I'm able to cross-utilize those ingredients into other things. So first we're going to get these lemons, and we're just going to put them on our grill back here. Now, yes, we're grilling lemons. I like doing that because it actually adds a lot of great caramelization to the lemons. It helps soften them up, and when those lemons are caramelizing, it's bringing out those natural sugars, and it gives it a different flavor than you traditionally have. So we have our softened butter. We're going to put that into our bowl. Then we're going to put our sea salt in here. Now we're going to put about a good tablespoon in there because we want to make sure that we have enough seasoning for our whole salmon. Another tablespoon of our everything seasoning. Right there, it's got garlic, onion, sesame seeds. And then I love using this orange peel. This Great Value organic orange peel. It's got a lot of great flavors to it. And we're going to put in some mustard, just like that. Want to make sure it's going to be a glaze, so it's going to have it's going to be a little bit soft. We don't want it to be too soft, just so that it loosens up, and when we put it on the salmon, it sort of just glazes right over it. A lot longer. So we're going to squeeze them in there. And like I said, when you cook them this way, when you cook the citrus, it actually makes it really, really easy to squeeze. So we're going to get like that. I'm going to put about 2 entire lemons into this glaze. I'll save our other 2 for another dish. And then we have everything in our bowl. We're just going to give it a quick little whisk, just like that. So we have the softened butter, the lemon juice, the everything bagel seasoning, the mustard, sea salt, just like that, and then that orange peel. So we're going to have a nice citrusy flavor. Now, the Southwest mustard isn't really that spicy, but if you want a little bit less spicy, you can use one of the other Great Value mustards. That'll work as well. It's really all about how much heat you like. And since this is for mom, you know, if she doesn't like that much spice, then don't add that much. So we're going to pour this right on top just like this. It has all of our seasoning already in it, so we don't have to worry about adding any more seasoning to it. Just like that, we're going to spread it just like that. And then what I like doing is I top it with a couple more lemons. If you want to add some more herbs to it, you can as well. Some dill would go really well with this. And what I do is, it's called indirect heat. So what that means is you put it on your grill, you turn on one half of the grill, you put that on medium, and you put your salmon on the other side without any heat underneath it. And that indirect heat is going to work like an oven. Now, one of the things I always get asked is like, do you have to cook this in the grill? And no, you could cook this in the oven at home. You could cook it in a pizza oven, in a toaster oven, if the toaster oven has enough room. As long as you can get 350, 400 degrees, then you're good to go. I'm going to move that one on that side. We're raising our temperature on our grill. Like I said, you want that 350 to 400. You can cut it in half and say 375, that's fine. Now, we got that done. It's in the oven. Let's check in and see if we have any questions. One of the things, since this is for Mother's Day, my mom actually isn't a big fan of salmon. So you could always use a different type of fish. You could use tilapia instead, another thinner fish that's going to cook pretty quickly. Or you could get really crazy and use the same mustard glaze and put it on top of chicken or on top of pork chops. That'll turn out really great, and you can still bake them the same way. Now, the salmon, you want to cook it until it gets to about 145. At that 375 temperature range, it's going to take us about 10-15 minutes to fully cook. So it's going to cook very, very quick. And it all depends on how well you like your salmon. If you like it really flaky, then you just need to cook a little bit more. The great thing is we'll just check on it in a little bit and see how it's going. Yeah, so like I said, you can use other types of fish are great to use as well. You don't have to use just salmon. Tilapia is great. You can switch it up and use chicken. And I think it's time for us to start doing our next recipe. If you got any questions, make sure to be dropping them in. I'll be checking them as often as I can. Or if you got any other ideas for our next Walmart Chef series. We all love to cook. We all love to create different things, and we all love to teach people. So if you have any other ideas on things we can cook, let us know, and we'd love to help you out. So what we're going to be doing is we need a veggie, because moms like making sure that we have plenty of veggies. So what I'm going to be doing is we have our everything bagel quiche that's completely cooked. We have our salmon with the everything mustard glaze is in the grill. Now we're going to make just a light little veggie side, right? So what I like doing is I love using these the Market Side Organic Veggie Medley. It's got all the great veggies and my favorite ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a light, easy vinaigrette. So vinaigrette is an emulsified dressing. We've all seen vinaigrette, and it's really easy to make. What we do is we start off with a little bit of the balsamic vinegar. We pour that into our bowl. Then we can either grill these lemons, which, let's grill them. We got some time. We're going to just give them a light grill. They got a little balsamic vinegar spilt on them, but that's actually going to work in our favor because that balsamic vinegar is going to tighten up. It's going to get a little sweeter, and it's going to give us a little sweet element to our vinaigrette. So we have our balsamic vinegar in there. Then I like adding a little bit of the Italian seasoning to it, the Great Valley Organic Italian seasoning. Just a little sprinkle like that. Gives it a good little natural, fun herby flavor. And we're going to mix that just like that. Just want to make sure we mix all those little flavors together. Going to put in our lemons. We're starting to get a little bit of color on them. We're going to squeeze them in there. It all depends how lemony you want it. For this one, I'm probably just going to put in one whole lemon. Just like that. Lemons are a little warm. Don't do this at home. We're going to cover that. Mix it like that. Now, this is the key whenever you're doing a vinaigrette. You want to start off with your vinegar and your juices first. Then what you slowly do is you slowly add in your olive oil to the mix, or your avocado oil, whatever type of oil you want to use. And the reason is because you want to slowly make that emulsification. You want to mix that oil and vinegar. You've heard that phrase, we go together like oil and water. This is the same sort of principle. If you slowly mix in the vinegar, it'll actually combine the two ingredients. So you want to slowly add in the oil into the vinegar just like that. And as you've started putting a little bit more, it's starting to emulsify, you can add the rest of it in there. So we've got that nice and mixed. So you can definitely use other veggies. This is one of my favorite ones to use, is the Great Value Organic vegetable medley. We're going to put in our butter into our pan. The other great thing about this one is you can actually, I like cooking it in the pan on the side, but you can get all your veggies, mix them in the vinaigrette, and then put it on the side of your salmon. Since this is only going to take about 5–10 minutes to cook the veggies, you don't need to cook them that long, and you can actually just cook it all in the pan. But for this, I decided to cook it on in my pan in the back. So we're going to mix our veggies just like that. We're going to stick them into our bowl. We're going to get our tongs. You always want to make sure your tongs work and you click them a couple times. We're going to give it another second, and while we're waiting for that, we'll see if we've got any questions. What would we pair with this? Well, since it's Mother's Day, we have some citrus. The weather's starting to get nice and beautiful. I'd pair it with a mimosa. You can grill off some lemons or some peaches. Get a sparkling wine. Add that into, so it makes them, so you get the peaches or you get the citrus, you grill it off, then you get the juice. Then you mix that in with a little bit of sparkling wine. Comes out amazing. All right, so we're starting to mix this up. Butter's starting to melt. It's starting to brown just a little bit. We're going to add in our veggies here. We want to mix that all together. And now, while we're waiting for our salmon and our veggies to finish cooking, which our salmon's starting to look and smell amazing, we're going to make dessert. Because who doesn't love dessert? And as promised, we have our berry bruschetta. Now, this is one of my favorite desserts to make. It's nice, it's fresh, it's fun, it's full of great flavors. It's really easy to do. It's got a couple steps to it that are really easy to follow. And these are one of my favorite ingredients, the market side vanilla brioche. It's a great bread with a lot of great flavors. Check in, see if we've got any more questions. So you can get the recipes. If you missed any of the steps, you can watch the video again, or the recipes will be in the comments, or you can go to my website or any of my social media, Instagram, Facebook, Chef Anthony Serrano, and chefanthonyserrano.com. All the recipes will be on there. So we have all the ingredients here for our berry bruschetta. We have some blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, a little bit of butter, the Great Value strawberry cream cheese spread, a little bit of agave nectar, and then heavy cream. All our ingredients here are really, really easy to make. What we're going to do is we're going to add our balsamic vinegar. Again, you see this sort of like trend that I'm doing. I'm repurposing and utilizing the same ingredients in multiple dishes. That way we make our shopping a little bit easy, and we have to have less stuff out, less of a mess. One of the great things is I actually used the Walmart grocery app to order all of this stuff, which was really convenient. I just put my order in and everything was ready for me, so that saved me a lot of time so that I could spend it making this awesome food for Mother's Day. So we added the agave nectar and the balsamic to this. You can always use regular sugar. If you want to use a sugar substitute, you can do that as well. We're going to mix our berries here, our blackberries. Now my bowl was a little bit too small there. Got a little crazy with my berries. Now what we want to do is mix those berries up with this little bit of balsamic and agave nectar. You can also, because it's the balsamic vinegar can be a little bit messy since it almost stains because of its black color. What I like doing with this recipe is I put it in a Ziploc bag, and I put my sugar or my agave nectar with the balsamic vinegar in the Ziploc bag, then I mix it all together. It helps from making that big of a mess. I get a pastry brush. And I grab our vanilla brioche right there. Grab a couple pieces of this. I get our butter that's nice and melted. And then I smear or schmear, whichever you prefer, a little bit of butter all over our vanilla brioche, just like that. Walmart makes a chocolate marble brioche that's really, really tasty that I like using for this recipe as well. Go just like that. I'm going to smear that butter on there, and then we're going to grill this. And we still have our lemons grilling. And take those off, just a little extra flavor. Our salmon is still looking amazing. I'm going to put this vanilla brioche onto our grill, just like that. For the homemade whipped cream, it's really, really simple to make. We just start off with a little bit of the Great Value heavy whipping cream. And for this, you really just want to keep mixing it. It's easier if you have an electric mixer or just one of those electric whisks, because you want it to get nice and frothy. So you want to keep mixing it. This is going to take you a few minutes. I'm going to check my veggies in the back. They're looking great. They're smelling awesome. They got a little bit of that caramelization. They're covered with that balsamic vinaigrette we made. And we're just going to keep mixing this. We want it to get thicker. And so what's happening is, as you're whisking it, all that air is getting into the heavy cream. And that's starting to build it up, and that's how you make a heavy whipped cream. And I like adding a little bit of the agave nectar at the end. You can use powdered sugar, another sugar substitute if you want to go sugar-free. And while we're still whisking that, we're going to check on our bruschetta. Look at that. That's looking great. It's getting some nice char marks to it. There we go. Now, if you don't like it as well done, you don't have to cook it that much. I like getting a little bit of color on there just because I feel like it adds a lot of great flavor to it. And since we're making a bruschetta, you want it to be a little bit cooked, a little bit toasty. You can always skip this step. You can use the Great Value whipped topping or the aerosol cans of whipped topping. Those are great too. This is just that extra little step if you want to go a little bit further for Mom on Mother's Day. Our everything bagel quiche is in the back. It's almost done. Our salmon is looking great. I'm going to get our bread off so it doesn't get too toasted. Look at that. Looks great. Like I said, this is the market side brioche. I love it. It's got a lot of great flavors to it. They have a regular brioche that's great for burgers and hot dog buns. And it's their market side brioche. Or this one is their sweeter version, and it's the market side vanilla brioche. Really great. So this whipped cream, I'm going to tell you, it does take a few minutes. You have to be patient with it. Another key little tip to making a whipped cream is you want the whipped cream to be as cold as possible. So normally what I do is I put it in the freezer for about 5 minutes beforehand, and that actually helps it emulsify and get whipped better. So I'm going to check some questions while I'm whipping this. I got a question here. It says, what if I do not add the balsamic reduction to the dessert? Well, you can definitely not add that. You can just toss it with a little bit of the agave nectar if you want that extra little sweetness. But if you don't want it, definitely don't add it. The one thing that I always tell people when they're learning how to cook is you're the one eating it, so you have to cook it the way you want it. If you want to use bacon instead of sausage, if you want to use tilapia or cod instead of the salmon, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with substituting. We're always all learning. We're always all experimenting in the kitchen. So follow the recipe, definitely. But if you want to change an ingredient, please feel free. You're the one eating it at the end of the day. And especially, you're making it for Mom on Mother's Day. So make it how Mom likes it. Can I use another bread other than the brioche? Definitely. What I've done for this one also is I've used hot dog buns. And I get the hot dog buns, do the same thing, put a little butter, cut them into small little pieces, almost like little bite size, and use the hot dog bun, and you grill those on your grill. You can pretty much use any sort of bread. You can use a gluten-free type bread. Just coat it with the butter, grill it a little bit. It all depends on how much of that char, those grill marks you like, because that adds a lot of great flavor to it. Let's see, another question is other types of fruit you can use. So instead of using the berries, you can use some sliced apples, some of those little cutie oranges. Definitely a lot of other fruits you can use. So our whipped cream is almost done. It's being a little finicky, and that's because it was starting to warm up. Like I said, to make a really good whipped cream, you want to make sure it's as cold, that cream is as cold as possible, pretty much right before it's frozen. So actually sticking it in the freezer for a few minutes before you make a whipped cream isn't bad. Or you can make this a lot quicker using a mixer. You can even put it in the blender, just don't over blend it or else it'll inflate and then it'll deflate. So we're just checking on everything back here. Our everything bagel is looking awesome. Our salmon is almost done. It's smelling really good. I wish you were here. I wish they had smell-o-vision. So our whipped cream is a little on the deflated side. So we're just going to keep mixing it for a few more moments. And the next step to our berry bruschetta is adding the Great Value strawberry cream cheese to it. So what I do is I add just a small little layer of that strawberry cream cheese. You can use regular cream cheese if you're not a fan. Then we're going to top it with our balsamic berries and our whipped cream. Like I said, sometimes this whipped cream just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of love to get it really nice and whipped. We're going to add in our cream cheese on top. Look at this. I love this. This strawberry cream cheese has a lot of great flavor to it. So we're going to get our vanilla brioche that we lightly toasted. Just going to smear that on there just like that. A little bit more. We're going to just do a little bit on all 4 of these slices. We're going to get our berries. And I normally don't leave the berries marinating in the balsamic too much because they'll actually start falling apart if you leave them in there too long. So 5-10 minutes before you eat them is good. You can stick them all in the fridge so they get a little bit more marinated. I'm going to put our berries just like that. This is a nice, fun dessert, and I know Mom likes it because it's nice and fresh, has a lot of great flavors. You can always top it with a little bit of mint. Basil even is really great on top of it, just so you use those fresh herbs. I'm going to check in and see if we got any more questions. We got a lot more great questions. Like I said, you can use any sort of bread you want. You can change up the fruit. If you want to add the balsamic, you don't have to. Our whipped cream is just finely nice and whipped. Like I said, it does take a while. If you want, you can put it in the whipped cream in the cooler before you whip it. But it's done now, so we'll just top our berry bruschetta with it. Let's check this out. Looks amazing. I love this recipe. It's so easy, it's fresh, it's fun. Mom likes it because it has fresh fruit in it. It's got great flavors. So it's time to start clearing our table here so that we can set the stage for our awesome Mother's Day. And move this stuff out of the way. We're gonna get our towel here. Ooh, look at this. Our salmon is smelling amazing and it looks awesome. You're gonna love this, watch. Check that out. Beautiful, right? So we're gonna put that right there. Our everything quiche is ready as well. I'm gonna grab that, put that over here on this side. And our complete Mother's Day meal is ready. It was so easy. We made it with Walmart products in a few minutes. Whole process didn't take that long. If you want the recipe, you can review our video, or the recipe will be in the comments of this video. You can also go to chefanthonyserrano.com or in my social media, Instagram, Facebook, at Chef Anthony Serrano. For the complete recipe, I'll have it all there with some pictures step by step. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. Again, it was a pleasure. I had so much fun hanging out with you. And if you have any other suggestions for another video for our Walmart Chef Live series, put them in the comments as well. I'd love to see what you think we should cook up next. And before I go, I just got to give a huge shout out to my mom. Happy Mother's Day, Bella. Happy Mother's Day, Thea. And happy Mother's Day to my wonderful wife. And most of all, happy Mother's Day to everyone out there watching. Thanks again. It was a pleasure. I had so much fun. And don't forget, keep on cooking.